Alright, welcome to another edition of GoogleIsEvil, a do not guide video presentation. Something like that anyway. One video on the website this week. Yeah, I was supposed to do more, didn't do it. So, no excuses really. Just didn't have the frame of mind, I suppose, or something or other. Too many distractions, blah blah blah. Yeah, just the way it worked out. Yeah, didn't seem like a busy week, but it must have been. Anyway. Weather's changing, lots of things you have to do when the weather changes. Anyway, alright. So, yeah, it's another comment video. Now, I wasn't going to make a comment video. I mean, I did sort of have a subject in mind and something to talk about. But it really wasn't enough of a subject. And so well, anyway. And it sort of fit with some of the comments, so I figured the comments would be good enough as a platform for pointing out what I wanted to point out. So, yeah, that's probably enough stated. There's a reoccurring theme, and that is, okay, yeah, these videos are ineffective because they don't start the right way first. They have to start in some way to engage people, and somehow their life is dependent on it. Something good or bad will happen if they do or don't listen to the video. The idea is that, yes, if they listen to this video, something positive will happen in their life. It'll be a positive change, a positive effect. And yeah, I don't really give that any indication. Now, I think it would be the consequence of you watching the videos. I think anybody watching the video is going to be more mindful of the decisions they make, and they'll take more time to think about what they're doing, and think about their ulterior motives, and be more careful about creating a victim. Having a preventable accident. You're making something bad happen that doesn't need to happen. Prevention, it's a great thing to have on people's mind. Prevention, it's really great to prevent bad things from happening. And risk is sort of an interesting subject, and the whole idea of imposing risk on somebody else. I mean, it's one thing for you to risk your welfare. It's another thing to risk somebody else's, and you really shouldn't be risking it unless there's real chance of the reward being much better than the risk you impose. That is, it's sort of like trading misery. It's okay to torture somebody if you're saving people from torture. Well, it's okay to impose risk if the imposition of the risk prevents more imposition of risk. So, that's just the way the math works. I'm sorry it works that way, but yes, preventing -3 is a +3. Just that's the way you prevent -3, is to have +3. It's it neutralizes it. Anyway, so let's just play the video. Yeah, let's do that. Jump to an appropriate location, and gotta check the volume there. Probably isn't terrible, but might be a little loud. So, some of us more than others, and that's the real point, is that the people who aren't suffering. Yeah, so this whole perspective thing, and you're talking to all kinds of people. So yeah, the people who are miserable, I'm automatically going to seem sympathetic. I feel your pain, so to speak. And I wish to advocate on your behalf to not be subjected to this happening over and over and over again, and redundantly living these silly, stupid lives of isolation and disenfranchisement, whatever you want to call it. And that would be a great thing, is that, get this over with. Quit replaying this lifeboat drama. Yuck. And then you're talking to people who just have no clue. It's all a pleasure cruise. They just don't get what's happening in the bowels of the ship, so to speak. And, it's not good. you know, what's being paid for their trivial gratifications. So in some way you do have to do it your way. But anyway, all right, so then there's a little bit of conversation about you know, what's driving the motivation for making videos. Even somebody brought up ego later in the video and different things, and yeah, I mean, you know, the fact is as a person I have to deal with what I understand the truth to be and what I might necessarily feel. I mean, I might like, I could say for a period there I watched sports and I was entertained by it because I didn't see the context of it. And then I realized, oh, it's a soap opera. I'm watching a soap opera. You know, because all I'm doing is rooting for my little heroes to have a good day and for the bad guys to have a bad day, and it's a soap opera. It's just, this isn't a useful use of my neurons kind of thing. And so you can be of, you know, two purposes. You know, part of you can know it's bad for you. It's like some tasty bit of food or something. Well, even that's a good example, and you can know that, well, cheese might be tasty, but it's made out of cow suffering, you know, and so you have to temper your desire with some knowledge that, well, can I find something else? Can I do something else? Can I, you know, fix it so I don't have to, you know, something else doesn't have to pay for my pleasure. And so you make those arguments, and hopefully you side with the I'll find something else to eat. I mean, you know, it's never going to be perfect. I mean, the answers aren't going to be the resolution of your dissidence, your internal dissidence, isn't going to be, hey, here's the perfect answer. No, the answer is going to, you know, be less than perfect. You win less, and they lose less. You know. You're going to say, I don't want to be a participant in civilization. I mean, should all... Yeah, so, you know, these arguments, people make arguments about, you know, their freedom and their this and their that, and then the hedonism thing came up and other things, and you're just like, it's not a single-player game. I shouldn't have to say anything more than that. It's not a single-player game, okay? The other people aren't virtual people, they're real people. The fact is, you make sounds and smells, and you use oxygen, and you know, you do lots of things that are interacting with them, and those are the real subtle ones. There's lots of overt effects you have on people, and it's just a fact. You can't help but, you drive by and they're standing there and they watch you drive by. They saw you, the photons hit them. It's going to change their life. The fact is, little stupid things like that, little stupid distractions, change people's lives. You know, they don't pay attention for a minute and they trip on the sidewalk and break their leg, and you know, then they meet their wife who's a nurse and they get married. I mean, all kinds of shit happens because of stupid events. And so we are interfering with each other all the fucking time. This is not a single player game. You can't have this attitude that I don't have to play by any rules. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's just about my gratification. It's just retarded. It's so fucking stupid. And you're going to condition your kid to bang off of walls, or, you know, he's going to... So somebody was talking about how they would raise their kid to be the great human productive thing, and it's not that easy to do, because you have to have a philosophy and a passion for it, and the passion has to be, frankly, it's going to be made out of bullshit. Okay, it's hard to... It would be very hard to convince me, okay, that I need to be a band-aid applier. You know, because I would know that, no, I should be working on the cure. You know, putting on band-aids is a waste of human energy. You know, it's like carrying a people across the stream or something. You know, oh, I'll be a person who carries people across the stream when, you know, I should be building the bridge. You know, that kind of stuff. And so you really are stuck. And then you know, you can't raise a kid anyway to be intelligent without throwing in the fact of how it's not a single player game, and your life isn't your own life anymore, and you have certain obligations to make your brain more efficient by applying its capacities to the service of other needs, not your own. And so you just make your kid into a janitor, you know, a slave to the inefficiencies that exist in the world, all the bad nests. You know, the good nest builder has to say, well, it's no different building my nest than building their nest, or building their nest, or building their nest. There's just eggs going to be laid in it. You know, there's just no way. Okay, so this idea that there's some, you know, that you're going to be able to show the blueprint of how you raise a good human being without, frankly, torturing them in some respects, just isn't really possible. Real human character requires acknowledgement of the truth, and the truth isn't a fun story. The game isn't one we can win, and it sucks to be playing a game, a brutal game, that you know you can't win. You know that the victory will not, there won't be any champagne. You know, it's pretty good. I like it. That's an important reminder for everyone interacting with faceless, nameless people on the internet. Alright, so yeah, there's a little bit about trolls and how, you know, if their identity, if we could see their reality, their life, that they wouldn't have much integrity. So their little quips and their little witticisms wouldn't mean much if that had to come with their legacy of who said it. So it's the hypocrisy argument. It's somebody could say, God loves you, praise God, blah, blah, blah. And you know, but if it's coming from a guy who's already been convicted of, you know, raping children or something, it's not going to mean much. And obviously a lot of these people are not situated consistent with their ideology, and they're hypocrites and liars and bullshitters, and you wouldn't want to be them. Yeah. Anyway, you know, regarding their student loans they never paid. They're probably out there, right? So I don't know exactly where that came in, but I just threw another shot at the whole student loan forgiveness thing, which is sort of horseshit. And if they're going to forgive the loans, they ought to just forgive the loans for the people who really can't afford to pay it back because they got an education that's useless. You know, but yeah, there's way too many who have had plenty of opportunity to pay back their debt and just chose not to do it because it's inconvenient. It's an inconvenient truth that they borrowed the money. You know, DNA molecule, evolution, fish have 5 bones in their fin. Yeah, so again, I'm just throwing in the evolution argument. The context of every conversation really has to include this premise, this axiom, this bit of knowledge, this fact, you know, that we're just bugs, and, you know, slimy, fishy bugs, and you know, that's our heritage, and we're still doing the same things. You know, we're still the mouth and the ass and the, you know, there's not much else going on here, you know, but the basic model of a consuming and reproducing monster, and we're still built to that agenda. I haven't wanted to mean alive here for over 5 years. Yeah, well, you just watch something, like you just say somebody goes to sleep in surgery. Okay, so I guess I was just talking about, you know, yeah, we're just sitting here and you're just waiting for your death, and frankly the death should be as benign as possible. I bent the conversation in that direction, I guess, just because we could make it so easy. You know, you just fall asleep and that's it. You don't know any different, and we don't, and it doesn't make any sense. Go to sleep and you know, somebody makes sure you don't wake up. No big deal. Fuck does that even mean? It's just, again, so what if you have the impulse to have sex with a 5-year-old? Oh, so you're somebody arguing for whatever, do something, you know, just, you know, act on your impulses. You somehow have a right to do that, or be yourself, or some kind of crap like that. And you know, the argument is, you know, ourselves is not really worth empowering. Frankly, you know, I think inside of us is a selfish bastard, not a nice person, you know, at the core. Somebody who wants a lot and doesn't want to have to pay anything for it. And you know, I'm just saying, you know, maybe I'm just outing myself as being a shitty human being, you know, by nature. But yeah, I'd just say by nature I'm a shitty human being. Okay, I mean, I got here on planet Earth and I was, you know, my first priority seemed to be me. Yeah. And I had to learn that that's not allowed, and you know, it's not reasonable and it's not acceptable. And but it still doesn't change the fact that you tend, okay, to like having immunity to things, and like being separated from risk and danger and all of that crap. And you know, it's more urgent that, you know, it happens to me than somebody else, kind of thing. I have to admit it, you know, I don't sit down every night and say, well, is somebody, you know, for dinner and say, is there somebody else in the neighborhood who's not having a very good dinner, and maybe I should go give them my dinner? You know, I don't, you know, I don't blight myself with that obligation. Well, I just mean, I mean, that's a trivial thing, but I just mean it's, you know, push come to shove. I want to evade, and I think I'm above pushing somebody else into the traffic to save myself, but I'm, you know, I'm not above the little cheap ways that, you know, I might. Well, I shouldn't say it, because, you know, I guess maybe in some ways I am above it now, because, yeah, I can't, you know, I don't, yeah, I don't, well, anyway, alright, I have to rethink that one. I mean, how much I have changed. So maybe I'm, yeah, no, I'm still, you know, it's not like I'm not even close to being a rapist. I never was. But I just don't know how much I would be capable of cheating. Let's just put it that way. If not, you know, if there's no way of getting caught and all this kind of stuff, and you put the candy in front of me, will I cheat? And I'm just saying that, yeah, I think there's still enough crap in my character where, you know, missing bits, where it would be possible. But I'm not sure. I haven't, you know, I'm not tested too often. They did it. They set themselves a task and they accomplished it. Now that's a lot less egocentric. I mean, they're not really worried about it actually panning out. Oh, so yeah, just getting the subtleties of what an ego is, you know, and how people can, you can put somebody in a category, you know, somebody who strives to be the best in the world at something. And some of them strive to do that because they want the glory and the fame. And then some strive to do that because they have such a deep insecurity, this is the way they're going to validate themselves. And so there's all kinds of different ways the ego works, you know, and some of it's less less shitty and less corrupt than other mechanisms. So I guess in a sense of defending your life is one thing, you know, and finding a way to I guess it's just the level of integrity. Okay, it's sort of frivolous for the promise of happily ever after, which you can't have anyway. You know, somehow this will gain you immunity from life when it won't. That expectation is kind of silly versus the other ambition, which is be the best you can be. Yeah, that's sort of a military slogan. But anyway, it's not a bad statement as a statement. This carnage, a bunch of, let's just take humans off the planet. What do you have? You have a huge, you know, this isn't something obvious to other people, but this is one of the arguments that if they could see it, you know, if they really saw what was going on this planet, you know, You know, if the dead things didn't get eaten quickly, you know, and I don't know if if it was just more, if there was more of an accounting for the actual blood footprint, like there was actual blood that dripped from trees or something, so people could get some grip of the volume. But yeah, just this idea that for every organism you have to calculate how many of its children will survive. So you could see a cat and he looks healthy and strong and all of these things, but he's going to initiate the existence of, say, 30 more cats, and 28 of them or so will be exterminated in some kind of pretty brutal manner. You know, it's just the truth. I mean, even the winner, the ones that survive, the ones that aren't expediently disposed of as kittens, will be disposed of later as adults through all kinds of attrition. And that's all that really happens on this planet is you're born and you start being attacked and you start incurring damage, and you know, that's all you do is spend your life trying to stop the damage, stop the force that's pretty much from the day you're born. It's trying to push you into the grave, and you're swimming against the stream, and that's not a great story to tell. I mean, it's not, you know, happily ever after. It's torment ever after. It's struggle ever after, because you never win. It's stupid. Why just see it's stupid? I mean, the point is to recognize that the brain is creating the illusion of this conscious experience. Yeah, so just a subtle point about physics, and the body is sort of irrelevant, you know, now for us, you know, as the most significant thing happening for us. Now, for a robotic single cellular organism, it's just about the machine. Does the machine function and survive? And there's nothing else at stake. But clearly for us, there's a lot at stake, because we have a brain, and the brain is really the thing that everything else is feeding. I mean, there's no significance without the sentient brain. I mean, there's nothing in the universe that could matter if it doesn't affect something that can feel. So the things having a feeling their DNA is carrying something completely different than the stuff that doesn't have a sentient brain. You know, it's a whole different game. It's a different equation. It's a different kind of math. It's, you know, binary math versus, you know, whatever, base 10. I mean, it's just not the same thing. How else to say that? So anyway, but yes, it's, you know, and we have clearly changed what's evolving. What's evolving is the knowledge in people's brains, the attitudes, the philosophy. You know, that's what's evolving more than anything else. And the understanding of the mechanism in which, you know, you're just balancing the adventure, you know, versus the price for it. I mean, how much you're paying to play the video game, and is it really worth it? Or should you just go to sleep and not wake up? Take your ambitions and put them to sleep. Something like that, anyway. All right. So, yeah, it's a, you know, long video, an hour and a half. So, I could have made 3 videos, right, out of that. Yeah. So it's 3 videos worth. You could argue. But anyway, I won't argue that. So that's just cheating. But anyway. So, yeah. So, yeah, till the next time. I'll try to do better. But, yeah, I have to decide what better is. I mean, what's the keys? You know, it's just finding these key ideas, right? It's creating the narrative in a specific way where you do it in order and all that crap. You know, I mean, I don't think there's too many people listening to this video who are real God botherers, who actually believe in all that kind of crap. And probably most of them, or 90%, understand that evolution's a pretty damn good theory. So I shouldn't have to explain that part anyway. So then you really are just arguing the hedonistic perspective. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? You're just a brain. The brain is controlling what is felt in the world. You can clearly control what you feel, by surrounding yourself with comforts. Or you can comfort all the other brains that are just as much in need of comfort. And obviously, as soon as you understand that obligation, you understand there's no fun to have here. Okay, if you have to start worrying about all the attrition, all the losers of evolution, if those are real losses, and you have to prevent those real losses to justify your victory, you have to make those losses, neutralize those losses. I mean, if people really died in the Olympics, let's say people really died, okay, all the losers died, and the winner got to survive, you could really understand how, well, that's a terrible price to pay. If they all got cancer, and the winner doesn't get cancer, or some kind of stupid thing like that, you could understand how this is way too expensive. I mean, I wouldn't have to make these videos if people had those kind of metaphors for understanding what's at stake and what we're playing for. And we're playing for the tiny notion of a victory, the tiny satisfied, the little tiny moments we spend blissfully, versus all the struggle that little tiny bit of bliss is made out of. And, come on. If you really look at it, it's really not worth it. And there's so many, and you can understand that there's so many fates in the world, the lives being lived, that you wouldn't want their fate. You don't want to end up like them. You wouldn't want to consciously experience their lives. And getting people to just admit that, I guess, is all there really is to this conversation. So, something like that anyway. So, I'll work on it. Continue to work on it. Yeah, whatever. I'll try to do better by doing the same. Well, anyway, we'll see how it works. We'll see what happens. I'll be interested just like you. How will it all play out? I'm also curious. Anyway, we'll see. So, till the next time, and such, so forth and whatnot. Oh, this has been Google is Evil. They're all evil. Facebook is evil. Twitter is evil. But, I'm on Google. I use Google products reluctantly. They are in control of this portion of the free speech area. What do they call that? The public square. Yeah. The public square is a bunch of corporate sidewalks, and that's just really dumb. But anyway, it's the world we have. The civilization hasn't figured out that, we shouldn't be making the public square out of private sidewalks. But anyway, till the next time, and such, and so forth, and whatnot.